each course we're going to learn something new. I am he/she, an Alibaba cloud engineer. Today I'm going to introduce node scalability in ACK. After this course you'll know how to enable autoscaling for cluster nodes by using cluster autoscaler. I'll now demonstrate how to enable autoscaling for cluster nodes by using cluster autoscaler in the ACK console. Before we use cluster autoscaler, we must ensure that we have a running ACK cluster. We can configure cluster autoscaler as needed only after this requirement is met. To configure cluster autoscaler, enter the Node Pools page. On the Configure Autoscaling page, an authorization message appears. If the two required permissions are not granted, click the link to complete the authorization. If the permissions are granted to your account, as shown here, click OK. Now we can see the required parameters for autoscaling. Configure these parameters based on your business requirements. After the configuration is complete, click Submit. The configurations are displayed. Then, we need to create one or more node pools that have the autoscaling feature enabled. We can create a node pool for which the autoscaling feature is enabled in the same way that we can create a regular node pool. To create a node pool with the autoscaling feature enabled, we must select autoscaling when we create the node pool. Then we must select the instance types that are required by this node pool. After that, we need to specify the number of instances in the node pool. The maximum number of instances and the minimum number of instances determine the number of instances that are allowed in the node pool. In the Advanced section, there are parameters such as taints, node label and scaling mode. Configure these parameters based on your business requirements. After the configuration is complete, click Submit. We need to confirm the configurations twice. Wait a moment. We can see that the node pool with the autoscaling feature enabled is created. At the moment, Cluster Autoscaler is running in the Cube System namespace. We can confirm the configurations as shown here. Next, let's look at the autoscaling progress of the node pool. First, we need to create a pod that cannot be scheduled. We've already created a deployment. The current number of container groups that are created by using the deployment is 0. Let's increase the number to 12. In this case, you might find that some pods cannot be scheduled. The reason is that the CPU resources are not sufficient. The autoscaling feature is suitable for this scenario. Nodes can be increased to meet our business requirements. The 3 pods that cannot be scheduled at the moment run as expected. Let's go back to the Node Pools page. On this page, we can see that Autoscaler has triggered a scale-out activity. On the Node Management page, we can see that the instances are in the running state. However, the status of the node is still offline. The nodes are being added. We need to wait several seconds. OK, we can see that the node is ready. Let's check whether the pending pods are already scheduled to the node that is ready. Refresh the page. We can see that the 3 pending pods enter the container creating status. That means that the pods are scheduled to the new node 172.27.35.216. Refresh the page again. We can see that the pods are running as expected. Next, let's see how to scale in the node pool. We just scaled out the node pool. The number of container groups that are created by using the deployment is increased to 12. The resources in clusters are not sufficient. Therefore, scale-out is performed. Now we will reverse the operation. We're going to decrease the number from 12 to 0. The expected result is that the new node is scaled in. The resources in clusters are sufficient to meet business requirements. Therefore, we can perform scale-in. Let's go back to the Node Pools page to check whether a scale-in activity is triggered. We can see that a scale-in activity exists. The new node that we added is scaled in. On the node management page, we can see that the node is scaled in. OK, we just learned how to enable autoscaling for nodes by using Cluster Autoscaler. That ends our course for today.